This is my DSO shell. I had a problem with it when I tried to connect a battery pack regulated by a regular voltage regulator, and the values was alright, and even though everything was fine and it was filtered and so on, the DSO went crazy, and after that it started to boot into a very peculiar failure mode when it was displaying EPROM read fail or something like that. I don't remember, to be honest. I waited a little bit and I ordered myself from eBay or from Banggood, I think it was Banggood, a program, UART USB interface, and I contacted the JYE Tech to receive the activation code. They also sent me a hex, so I install it over here. There was no issues whatsoever, and I boot in, and the message basically disappeared. So right now I'm using a new Varta battery, but it has a very low voltage. I have no idea why. The current it takes is 0.12 amp, and the interface is still flickering just like it did before, and basically the operation is very similar to what happened before, except that it's not booting into this error mode. In the beginning I also had a curve, and it displayed the curve, and the signal generator was outputting the square wave, but the square wave was constantly like switching on and off. It couldn't really stay in the place. There was some issues with power, so I figured out that the voltage regulator is busted, the 3.3 volts voltage regulator, and I replaced that one. And then I had a curve again, and basically it was exactly the same as before, meaning everything was jumpy and nothing really, you couldn't consider that a functioning device. Then what happened is I had a curve very low on the screen, and then it skyrocketed, and probably now it's existing somewhere in the memory of that, displaying it way beyond the scale, and as you can see it's constantly jumping. So I did this setup over here to write down some measurements, and but unfortunately I have to start again because my smartphone didn't really catch everything. Okay, so I will just turn it over. One thing that I need to mention: the signal generator stopped to work. Right now it doesn't really recognize what's the position of the switch, or it doesn't output anything. At least as far as I know, I don't have another oscilloscope to check that. Okay, so I will just go through some measurements, and again, 3.3 volts is just fine within the margins of error. The V plus is, I don't think it will change, 667. So 667, so it dropped down a little bit, 667 at this point. And this is probably because the battery itself is pretty low. It's 757 battery is 757, and this is a new battery. I just took it out of the box. Imagine, Varta. Okay, but nevertheless all the other values should be also go crazy if it's so you have A minus is minus 5.5 minus 5 volts, so it's within the margins of error. So AV minus is minus 4 99 to, you know, I wouldn't trust those measurements anyway, but now V minus over here is 584. V minus is 583. Okay, so now we have AV plus is 505. I think it's also within the margins of error. AV plus 505. 505. Minus. Okay. Now we have V plus over here, it's the same. And let's say V2 0, V1 0, V3 0. So V1, V2, V3 0, 0, 0. And I believe that's it. I mean, I didn't check for any other stuff that could be wrong over here, but I will post it on the forum right now, and I hope that this is something that could be answered. I don't know. I really would like to fix it myself. I wouldn't want to send it anywhere. I was also wondering if this voltage regulator over here could be busted, but I don't think so, if all the voltages over here are correct. And yes, it doesn't really do anything if I switch it without this over here. It's exactly like before. It's flickering and jumping and constantly this sending data information, and if you read the UART, it really sends something. As you can see, I cannot even switch to other values, and when it went to hold, it's holding forever. You cannot really go back to running mode. And that's it. I wouldn't try to say any more. I mean, that's just a noise, whatever I say, more than this. Maybe worth noting, the current take went about 3 milliamps while I switched off the other board, the analog board. But that's it for today. Thank you if you have any ideas, and in advance.